can you talk a bit about how this whole project came together?
Well, I worked with Kristen on Knocked Up, and she had this part where she was Katherine Heigl's boss, and in the script, literally, it was just the guy. There was no sidekick female assistant, and I said, Kristen, just you can just chime in and whenever you want, and I'll throw out some ideas for you. And she completely stole the whole thing, and really got gigantic laughs. And I thought, well, this is a really special talent that the audience loves. So I said, we should do something where you're the lead. You should write something for yourself. And 5 years later, we are on this fancy set talking about it.
What did you think of the script when you read it, and also the possibilities that it had?
I liked what they were trying to talk about, which was the pressure women feel to succeed and reach certain benchmarks of when they get married, when they have kids, and that by being a maid of honor, you would be surrounded by people doing better than you, and it would make you have to figure out what was going wrong in your own life. And also, what do you do when your best friend is getting married and you could tell she's about to drift away, and the kind of panic that would create for somebody. So it was really fun developing those ideas and then figuring out, how do we make that crazy funny also.
You have this great character that's Annie. You've been up a bit, but we're all rooting for
Yes.
Can you talk about it?
I mean, we were trying to come up with something that the audience would sympathize with. So, they created this idea that she had a bakery, and when it went bankrupt, her partner in it, which was her boyfriend, left town and left her with all the bills. And now she's living with two strange people, played by Matt Lucas and Rebel Wilson, who are hilarious. And she's just you think she's at bottom, and then throughout the movie you keep realizing that the bottom is getting lower and lower and lower until she finally has to figure out what's going wrong.
How did Kristen Wiig surprise you if she did? I mean, what did she bring to the role of Annie?
I mean, she brings a real humanity to it. She's very comfortable showing, who she is on the inside. As an actress, she just completely exposes all of her nerves and her anxiousness and her pain and how her low self-esteem. I mean, it's a really great character because it has all those qualities that we all have. Down deep, you just think, am I just a piece of crap? Am I never gonna figure anything out or succeed? Should I even bother? And I think only someone like Kristen can do that, make it likable, and also be insanely funny and enjoyable to watch while portraying those fears and painful emotions.
Let's talk a bit also about the other 5 women that you have here.
Yes.
And how they came together, how you found the right actress for the right role.
Well, we did, an enormous amount of auditions where every funny person in town came in and read these generic bridesmaid scenes that we had written for them. And slowly we started just seeing, who would be right. It's like putting a band together. And once you like someone, you realize, I can't hire these 20 people because they do some variation of what this person does. And it turned out that most of the cast were friends of Kristen's that she worked with at the Groundlings Improv Theater, and then Ellie Kemper, Paul Feig knew from The Office, and I had just worked with Rose Byrne on Get Him to the Greek. And so it was all people that one of us knew really well, so there's a real intimacy to the movie.
The film is a lot about the relationship between Annie and Lillian, who's getting married, and she's played by Maya, who's also a friend of Kristen in real life. That's important, right?
To me, I just think it's hard to buy these relationships when they're completely fabricated. So when I do Knocked Up and Seth Rogen needs friends, I think, well, let's just hire his friends. Who's he hanging out with these days? And Maya is one of the greatest comedic actresses of all time, but also an incredible actress. And I loved her in Away We Go, and I just admired her for a very long time. So we all thought, well, let's pick someone that Kristen's really tight with, so that they have their own language and their own shorthand, and you'll instantly feel what she's missing when that person gets engaged and is about to drop off.
Paul, you also knew. What made him the right director for Bridesmaids?
He's very in touch with his feminine side. He really likes working with women. He likes writing for women, and he works from an emotional place first, but is also great at broad comedy. And it was important that the movie had both, that it could be sweet, and when it went crazy for a reason that served the story, and Paul's one of the few people who can do that.
How important is the rehearsal process for you?
I like to rehearse a lot because when there's no pressure, that's when all the great ideas tend to happen. So to put all of these people in a room for 2 weeks and just let them goof off and talk, and they'll do the scene as scripted, and then Paul will say, okay, now do the scene again, but don't say anything you just said in the script, but try to get from the same point A to point B. And that's when really amazing stuff starts to happen.
Following up on that, was there a lot of improvising on set?
Yeah, I think literally on everything in the movie, we would shoot the script, and when we thought the script was shot really well, we would just do 2 or 3 more takes where anything goes. And a lot of times it's rewriting it on its feet. You notice a new idea, and then you take a break and go, okay, let's write a couple of jokes for that direction of this, and jump back in.
What can you also tell us about the 2 male roles that you had? Very funny, both John and Chris.
Well, Chris O'Dowd I saw in The Boat That Rocked, the Richard Curtis movie, and my friend is his manager, and he said, I think Chris would fit into your world really well. And he does feel like somebody that, should have been the other guy in Knocked Up, or, he has that feeling of the Irish version of what we do. And he's so charming and funny and a very skilled improviser, and he really did charm Kristen Wiig. Like, it looks like they're falling in love. Maybe they did fall in love. I should look into that. And then John Hamm. Well, John Hamm is one of my favorite actors. Mad Men's my favorite television show, and he's so funny on Saturday Night Live that it was, a dream to get him to play that part. And we thought about it from the very beginning. Do you think John Hamm would do it? Is it possible? And then he did Saturday Night Live, and we're like, he was hanging out with Kristen. Did it go well? Does he like her? And then he said yes.
Film is set in the Midwest, but shot in LA.
Yes, it was. I try to shoot in LA just so I don't have to ever go anywhere. But it looks like the Midwest, and that is the magic of Hollywood. I think they wanted to do it that way so they felt like there was kind of a class warfare between Milwaukee and the people from Chicago, and I think it gives it a nice spirit.